Hi, thank you for joining us. What's your name and how old are you?
My name is Ani and I'm 25 years old.
How was the community before all of this started?
Our community was very close. We lived in smaller villages. The one I lived in was right outside of Constantinople. We mostly kept to ourselves. The Ottoman Empire didn't really want anything to do with us because of the religion barrier. My people were Christian and most people outside of our region were Muslim.
How is this affecting your whole family situation?
Well, it's been going on for a few years, and the biggest impact on my family was definitely in the start when my oldest son was taken from me.
How is this affecting your religion, your faith?
Well, my religion, like I said before, my whole family's Christian, everyone I know is, and that's one of the main reasons they came after us and antagonized us. All of my friends have conformed to their ways and started converting to Muslim so they would spare their own lives. I try to not show them my religion, but in private, when they give us those few moments of peace, I like to pray to God, and because I know He will save us.
What was it like when you were walking to the camp?
Oh, it was horrible. They didn't give us food, barely any water. The only minutes of rest would be to throw us on the ground to kill us. It was hot. They made us walk through many deserts. Sand would get in our eyes. I would see dead bodies all over the ground from the groups that were in front of us because the Turks did not care if we died. They would just let us if we were sick, or even if we wouldn't walk fast enough, they'd shoot us.
When was the first time you realized that something was happening?
The first time was I heard rumors about 250 Armenian intellects being killed by the Ottoman Empire, but stuff like this would always happen. They'd always try to come after us because they hated us. So I just thought it was another rumor and it was just another spur killing. But the time I realized that this was going to last a while was when they came knocking on our doors in our villages, which they rarely came to, and they started saying that we had to leave Armenia and we were getting deported. They said it was for our own good so that we wouldn't destroy their empire, and they started ripping families apart. And I feel like they did that more to degrade us psychology, so we would feel weak and try to back down to them, and many of us did.
Did it feel being one of the few who didn't bow down?
It was definitely a struggle at first, but I am so lucky that my husband, Tigran, he was fighting throughout the whole thing, but he was smart about it, so he was planning our escape the whole time. He was injured throughout the genocide, but we eventually were lucky enough to make it out, and I'm just so glad that I made it out with my youngest. But whenever I think about all the friends and family I left behind, I always get saddened, and I hope we can help them in the next few years.
What kind of work did you or your husband do during or even before all of this started?
Well, my husband, he did very noble work. He would help around the village a lot. Everyone knew him. He would always try to help out the wives who lost their husbands. He would help around their house, like repairing stuff, farming for food. He is just a very noble man, and I'm so lucky to have him. But during the genocide, all of our civilization was lost, and we were mainly just forced to do whatever they needed for their empire, which was definitely degrading.
What were the Turks using to kill these people?
They would use weapons that we never had access to. They'd use big guns, and they would push them on our backs while we were walking to make us walk faster. And there were so many of them on the trail, and there was even more at the camps where they would constantly try to force us to pray to their God, and if we didn't, they would use those weapons to shoot us. Everything at that camp was just torturous, and I'm so glad that I was able to get out.
What were the conditions like at this camp?
The conditions, like I said before, they tried to convert us, and it was just, we weren't free like we were at our home. There was less community because we were all just so emotionally exhausted.
Thank you for joining me.
Of course.